Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to tackle something that's, well, it's absolutely essential to our happiness, but we almost never treat it like a skill we can actually learn, and that's friendship. We kind of just assume it's supposed to happen, right? Organically. But let's be honest, in a world that feels more rushed and disconnected by the day, making, and more importantly, keeping real connections it's a real challenge. It's this weird paradox. We have a million ways to connect online, but a lot of us feel more alone than ever. So today, we're going to stop leaving it up to chance. We are breaking down the psychology of modern friendship into a practical, step-by-step guide. Think of it as a toolkit for building relationships that don't just make you happy, but actually help you become a better version of yourself.
Let's start with this idea, because it is just beautiful. We tend to think of exploration as, climbing mountains or looking at stars through a telescope. But what if the most complex, fascinating, and mind-blowing universe you could ever explore is sitting right across the table from you, inside another person? I mean, really think about that. Every single person is this unique galaxy of memories, experiences, jokes, and ways of seeing the world. To really truly understand a friend is to get a VIP pass to see reality through their eyes. You get to escape what one writer called our tiny little skull box and access their world. It's not just socializing, it's genuine, profound exploration. So here's the game plan for our journey today. First, we're going to dig way deeper into this idea of the universe in a person. Then, we'll get super practical with something called the 70-30 friendship formula. It's a simple bit of math for finding your people. After that, we'll talk about your story is your bait, which is all about how knowing yourself is the secret to attracting the right friends. Next up, we'll learn the chain reaction technique, a step-by-step method to actually grow your social circle. And finally, we'll break down the 2 modes of friendship, so you know how to actually nurture the connections once you've made them. All right, let's dive into this first big idea. Why is friendship not just some nice optional extra in life, but an absolute requirement for our minds to work properly? I mean, we talk about self-help, journaling, meditation, all these solo activities, but the source material for this explainer makes a really powerful case that true self-discovery, true growth, it's basically impossible to do it alone. So why is that? Okay, this slide right here gives us this brilliant analogy. Inside our heads, our thoughts are basically a jumbled, tangled mess. It's like a knotted ball of DNA, or a bunch of thread that's been thrown in a drawer. All the information is in there somewhere, but it's chaotic and pretty much useless. We often don't really know what we're thinking until we try to say it out loud to somebody else. I'm sure you've felt this. You're upset about something, and in your head, it's just this big, foggy cloud of anger or sadness. But then you start explaining it to a friend, and just in the act of trying to find the words, you hear yourself say, I think what's really bugging me is, and boom, clarity. The act of talking to a friend forces us to structure that chaos. It turns that tangled ball of thread into a clear, organized line. So in a very real way, friendship is the process that turns our messy internal feelings into clear, usable ideas. So this whole process of turning jumbled thoughts into clear words, it serves 3 vital psychological functions. First up, self-development. When you share your experiences and listen to theirs, you're basically crowdsourcing life. You learn what works, what doesn't. You get to integrate the best bits, the gold, from their life into yours. Maybe your friend tells you a story about how they dealt with a tricky situation at work, and you think, wow, I can totally use that. Second, and this one's simple but huge, is joy and happiness. It's just a fact. Good things are better when you share them. Watching a sunset, seeing a great movie, sharing it amplifies the joy. And third, social support. This is huge. Just being with people you know have your back gives you this deep sense of safety. It's your home base. It's knowing you're understood and protected, which gives you the confidence to go out and face the world.
Okay, so that all sounds amazing, right? But it brings us to the million-dollar question. How on earth do you find these people? This is especially tough if you've ever felt like you're a little bit weird, or you just don't quite fit the mold. For anyone who feels a bit unusual, that need for connection is often even stronger. But the search just feels so much harder. You can feel like that ugly duckling, searching and searching for your flock of swans, and you start to wonder if maybe swans just don't exist for you. So how do you find them?
To figure this out, we're offered a surprisingly simple tool. It's not some crazy, complex personality quiz or a deep dive into your childhood. No, it's just a simple ratio. A little bit of math you can use to spot the people who are most likely to become your people.
And here it is. It's called the 70-30 friendship formula. The idea is to look for people who are about 70% like you and about 30% different from you. It's all about finding that perfect balance between comfort and challenge. Let's really break down why this 70-30 mix is so powerful. That big chunk, the 70% similarity, That's your foundation. That's what gives you that instant feeling of relief, that, oh, you get it, you get me. It creates a sense of safety and belonging. Maybe you share the same weird sense of humor, or you have similar core values about life. This is the bedrock. But if you were 100% the same, let's be real, it would get pretty boring. That's where the magic 30% difference comes in. That's the spark. It's what introduces you to new music, new foods, new ways of thinking. If you're a total homebody, maybe your 30% is a friend who gently pulls you on new adventures. This difference is what keeps the relationship exciting and pushes you both to grow. It's the engine of the friendship.
Okay, so now you have a formula. You know what to look for. But that's only half the story, isn't it? How do they find you? You can't attract your 70-30 people if you're not sending out the right signals about who you are. And this leads us to a really interesting little paradox. And here it is, the core challenge. It's a classic catch-22. To make real friends, you need to be open and share who you are. But, like we just talked about, we often don't really know who we are until we've explained ourselves to a friend. So you kind of need the end result just to start the process. It can feel like you're stuck. So how in the world do you break that cycle?
There's this really powerful story about a client who was convinced he was the most boring person alive. He felt like he had nothing interesting to say ever. So his therapist gave him a really simple homework assignment. For 2 weeks, just write down any memory, any fact, any story from your own life that you find interesting, not what you think will impress other people, just what sparks something in you. He came back with these incredible stories, funny, touching, fascinating things. The simple act of writing them down made him see their value. And those stories, they became the bait that let other people see who he was and connect with him. This process is the first step. You have to mine your own life for the gold.
The author of our source material gives a perfect example of this. She says when she moved to a new city, she started noticing that people's eyes would light up whenever she shared some unique little detail about her life. Like the fact that she's from a city that's literally split between Europe and Asia. Or this amazing little factoid that a true Orenburg shawl is woven so finely it can be pulled through a wedding ring. See, these specific personal details, those are the hooks. That's what makes you memorable. It's not about being boastful. It's about sharing a tiny, authentic piece of your universe. These are the signals that help your 70-30 people spot you in a crowded room. Okay, so you know why friendship is so important. You know what you're looking for, that 70-30 sweet spot, and you know how to signal who you are by sharing your own unique stories. Now for the final, super practical piece of the puzzle. Where do you actually find these people, and what's the technique for connecting?
This is a brilliant, low-pressure strategy called the chain reaction technique. The secret is to stop trying to befriend an entire group of people at once. That's way too overwhelming. Instead, you start with whatever social circle you already have access to, even if you don't love it. So let's say you're at a work party, and you feel like you don't really click with anyone. Your only job for the night is to scan the room and find the one person you find the most interesting. Or heck, even just the person you dislike the least. Then, you focus all your energy on having one good conversation with that one person. The goal is just to build enough of a connection that maybe, just maybe, they invite you to their next get-together. This lets you hop into a new social circle that's already kind of pre-filtered to be a better fit. And then, you just do it again. It's a chain reaction that lets you move from circle to circle, getting closer and closer to your people with every single step.
Now, finding friends is a huge win. But it's really just the start of the adventure, isn't it? Once you've made these connections, how do you actually cultivate them and help them grow deeper over time? The final piece of our instruction manual is understanding that not all friendships and not all interactions are the same. We have to learn how to operate in two very different friendship modes.
The source makes this really important distinction between light and deep friendship. Light friendship is for groups. It's playful, it's easy, it's small talk. The metaphor here is that it's like splashing around in a shallow river. It's fun, it's light, and it's not meant to be super serious. Deep friendship, on the other hand, is for those one-on-one connections. This is where you can be truly vulnerable and open up. This is like putting on scuba gear and exploring the depths of the ocean. The author admits she used to get this wrong all the time, trying to have deep conversations at parties when the vibe was clearly light and playful. It just never worked. Knowing which mode you're in is a game-changing social skill. So how do you nurture that deep ocean-exploring kind of friendship? The source gives us 3 really powerful rules. First, generosity. Give the best you're capable of. She tells a story about giving a friend a really nice makeup item she actually wanted for herself. This isn't about buying friends. It's about making a statement that their happiness is genuinely important to you. Second, be open to their world. Say yes and let them teach you something. She talks about being absolutely terrified of a ropes course her friends wanted to do, but she went anyway. and it turned into this incredible bonding experience. It shows trust. And finally, number 3, be radically open. Share what you're really thinking and feeling. Create a safe space where you can figure things out together, like you have a shared mind.
And that brings us right back to where we started. With this framework, you're not just passively making friends anymore. You have a mission, and you have a toolkit. You've got the 70-30 formula to spot your potential allies. You have the story as bait technique to let them spot you. You have the chain reaction method to navigate the social world. And you have a guide for knowing when to splash in the river and when to explore the ocean. You are officially ready to be an explorer, not of faraway galaxies, but of the incredible, complex, fascinating human universes that are all around you, just waiting to be discovered. So the only real question left is, whose universe will you explore next?
And that's our deep dive into the instruction manual for friendship. If this explainer gave you a new way to think about your connections, we'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe for more. And hey, down in the comments, let us know, what's one piece of friendship advice that's made a real difference in your life? Thanks so much for watching.